Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili.
Hello, I'm Africa 54 Managing Editor Vincent McCory in for Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Tuesday, January 3rd. This is Africa 54.
Malawi schools are closed in two major cities because cholera is surging, as David Doyle reports. Uganda's New Year's Eve celebrations were marred by a stampede just before the fireworks went off. Africa 54's Esther Githui-Ewart has more. New Year's resolutions are traditionally made and then typically broken. Many resolutions are for losing weight and living better. VOA health correspondent Linor Moudou discusses health resolutions with Dr. Selam Aklilu in Addis Ababa. All this and much more on today's Africa 54.
We begin in Southern Africa, where the Malawian health minister says schools in the country's two major cities did not open as planned on Tuesday in a bid to slow a surge in cholera cases and deaths. VOA's Haiti Adams has more.
Students in Malawi's main cities, Blantyre and Lilongwe, were meant to be back in class on Tuesday. Instead, amid the southern African country's worst cholera outbreak in a decade, the reopening of public schools has been delayed. The total number of cases has accelerated to 17,824 since cases were first reported in March, according to the Health Ministry. On Monday, Health Minister Kumbize Chiponda said the continuing increase of cholera cases and deaths meant schools would remain closed. A new opening date will be announced later, she said in a statement. Cholera is an annual problem during Malawi's rainy months from November to March, but the number of deaths is usually around 100 a year. 595 people have already died in this outbreak. Compounding the problem is a shortage of vaccines. Last month, a World Health Organization official said the global stockpile the UN body helps to manage is currently empty or extremely low. Chiponda called on Malawian authorities to tighten control measures that include spraying chlorine to disinfect congested places such as markets and schools and stepping up inoculations. Haiti Adams, VOA News.
Meanwhile, Burundian authorities have declared a cholera outbreak in Bujumbura. The health minister says at least 9 cases have been recorded. The cases were reported in the northern part of Bujumbura, close to the capital. 9 people in Uganda are dead and after suffocating in a stampede at the New Year's fireworks display near Kampala. VOA's Esther Githui-Ewart reports.
Families and loved ones were distraught as ambulances transported bodies to the morgue. Emergency responders at the scene carried the injured to the hospital. Kampala police spokesman Patrick Onyango says the stampede started as people rushed inside to watch a concert and was stuck in a narrow corridor. 5 children were among those who died. Ramadan Apongo witnessed the deadly stampede.
It was 30 minutes to midnight. Then MC told us that we should go up and watch fireworks from the parking up. Then as we were going up, they told us, now you have to go back. So some people had already reached the parking, so they forced them to come back to the main hall. So that pressure from up and the pressure from down led to loss of breath to some colleagues of ours, which led to their death.
An investigation into the tragedy has been opened. Esther Githui-Ewart, VOA News, Washington.
To West Africa now, where Burkina Faso says an investigation has been opened and it's urging calm after 28 bodies were found in Nona in the northwest on the weekend. Rights campaigners are blaming the massacre on a volunteer militia created to support the army's battle against jihadists. Attacks targeting security forces and civilians have increased in recent months, especially in northern and eastern regions bordering jihadist-torn Mali and Niger. The public prosecutor in Nona says that most of the victims, all male, were shot. Following a chaotic brawl in Senegal's parliament, 2 opposition lawmakers are now behind bars, jailed for assaulting a pregnant colleague from the country's ruling party. David Doyle has more.
A court in Senegal has sentenced 2 lawmakers to 6 months in jail for assaulting a pregnant colleague during a parliamentary session. In a chaotic televised scene, Amy Ndiaye Gnibi of the ruling Benno Bokk Yakaar was slapped in the face by opposition parliamentarian Massata Sam at the start of December. She responded by throwing a chair at Sam. She was then pushed to the ground by other lawmakers and kicked in the abdomen by Amadou Niang. On Monday, Sam and Niang, both of the opposition PUR party, were also ordered to pay a total of 5 million CFA francs, or $8,200 in compensation to Gnibi. The brawl worsened political tensions in Senegal that have risen since the ruling party lost its comfortable majority in a July legislative election. That loss was widely seen as a rebuke of President Macky Sall, who has refused to say whether he will seek a 3rd term in 2024, a move the opposition says would be in breach of term limits.
Where David Doyle of Reuters fired that report. Now, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan lifted a ban Tuesday on opposition rallies imposed in 2016 by her predecessor John Magufuli. Hassan has been under pressure to break with some of the more headline policies of Magufuli, who died in 2021. Free speech was curbed and opposition leaders detained in a sweeping crackdown on dissent under Magufuli's leadership. Hassan has sought to make conciliatory moves to the opposition since taking office, but has been branded a dictator by her critics. Now, for more on the lifting of the ban on political rallies in Tanzania, I'm joined by VOA's senior Swahili editor, Abdul Shakur Aboud. Now, Shakur, what has been the reaction, particularly from those opposition leaders?
The opposition leaders who talked with our reporters in Dar es Salaam, like Professor Ibrahim Lipumba, he is insisting that it's a good move, but what they really want to see is that the government names a new independent electoral commission. That's one of the things. The another thing is that they want to see a constitutional change. The leader of Chadema, Freeman Boy, he is saying that they need a real change in the constitution where people will be allowed to participate and make changes before the elections next year. We know this has been going on for a long time. They said they have had meetings for the last 6 months calling on Samia to change a lot of things in the government ruling and different laws of the country. So those are the main things they want. The main thing, constitutional changes and an independent commission.
Actually, in terms of changing constitution requires, of course, parliamentary action here. In terms of the composition of members in parliament, does the CCM party seem to have a more than a fair advantage?
Yeah, definitely. CCM has the majority in the parliament, but what they are asking is to create a special commission, and I don't think so they want the whole constitution to be changed. They want some important steps to be taken to change election rules, elections, ways of running the elections, and they want a commission to be named, giving everybody a part of it, all the political parties, non-governmental organizations, civil society, and the government, to be together and create changes which will be fair for everybody, so that next year's election will be fair and free.
Yeah. So what has happened now is just allowing the opposition to meet publicly without being harassed, right?
Exactly. This is a very important step. Samia, you know, since she took over from Magufuli, late Magufuli, is that she has been talking with the opposition. She has changed, although that they were saying, some of them, they're saying she's still following Magufuli, but this is a major example. She's come up with the 4 R's. She wants reform, resilience, and rebuilding of the nation so that she can see that there is independence of political will and people can have the will to participate in political activities. But at the same time today, she warned that the political parties should make sure they follow the law and they bring in real political competition in a democratic form.
And indeed, she also promised that the government will provide security at those political rallies, which is really, a positive action.
It is really a big change, well, really definitely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Abdushakur Aboud is the senior Swahili editor here at The Voice of America. Well, now thousands of Brazilians lined the streets to bid farewell to soccer legend Pelé on Tuesday as a procession carrying his coffin passed through streets of Santos towards the Memorial Necropolis Cemetery, where he is being buried in a private ceremony. The casket traveled on top of a firefighter's truck and was covered with a Brazil flag. Several police officers on motorbikes were seen escorting the procession. Pelé was born in 1940 in the small country town of Trecorocas, but moved to Santos in 1956 and lived there for most of his life. Pelé won the World Cup in unprecedented 3 times. He died at 82 after a long battle with cancer. Well, following the death of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, we spoke to people on the streets of Accra about the former pontiff.
He just didn't want to bend. He was so traditional, conservative, and he wanted to keep the Holy See holy and didn't want to mar it with anything that was un-Catholic.
If you're a leader and you think that things are not going the way they should, you should be able to step down. I feel like being a Christian even imposes the obligation on you. The moment you feel like things are not working, you're not able to deliver, the honorable thing to do is step aside. So I think that everybody has a lesson to learn from the life of the Pope that just passed.
I would say people should learn from what he left behind, his legacy, his love for people, regardless of where you're from, your religious background. So being a Christian, I've learned to just to forgive. Forgiveness is one of the key.
He was a great leader. He had his weaknesses. He had a few inconsistencies in his papacy. But I think he served well. He displayed integrity.
Well, Ghanaians reacting to the death of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. The Millennium Challenge Corporation has announced a group of newly eligible countries for multi-million-dollar grants in 2023. They are Gambia, Togo, Senegal, and Mauritania. The MCC is active in 14 African countries with compact and threshold programs worth roughly $3 billion and another $2.5 billion in the pipeline. VOA's Peter Clotis spoke with Mamadou Ba, Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the MCC.
So we have announced and signed our first regional agreement, which is the compact between Benin and Niger. It's going to be the first time MCC is doing a regional compact between 2 countries, bringing a corridor, the road between Cotonou to Niamey, making it an integrated regional asset. And we will do a lot of policy and implementation work. We will do policy institutional reforms. And we are looking forward to seeing that road in the long term reduce the cost of transportation and benefit the people of Benin and Niger.
Mr. Ba, so what has been the progress report of the MCC, particularly in Africa? Because I know the MCC is in about 14 African countries. Right?
Yes, we are active in 14 African countries, and we currently are managing $3 billion in grant funding. So what has been the scorecard? So here's where MCC is different. We have a transparent evaluation process, right? Every program that we do is independently evaluated. It's on our website, mcc.gov. So the progress report is that we are reducing poverty through economic growth. And we are doing this by associating the country partners. We have this concept of country ownership, Do you know that any one of our grants, which on average is $350 million, is implemented by the country?
Okay.
MCC only has 2 MCC staff on the ground. So we trust our partners to implement the compact. Second, we have a very respectful relationship. What we call the Millennium Challenge account and MCC all tend to agree on a principle, on a document. So our report card on what we're doing is very good. Our countries, don't take my word for it, ask the countries. Our countries have always been saying, like, we want more of MCC. The Congress said they want to see more of MCC. We are looking to get more money to do more. But unfortunately, the MCC model is based on a scorecard. Not everybody can get it. And if you want to get it, you have to work on it. And those scorecards are independently put together by third parties, and that's what makes it such an attractive tool.
So if a country wants to qualify for the MCC regarding eligibility, what are the benchmarks? What are the rubrics? What do they need to surmount in order to be eligible?
So the MCC scorecard has 20 indicators. These are independent indicators. They are bucketed in 3 places, right? There is the economic freedom, there's the investing in your people, and there's the ruling justly.
Right.
There are 2 hard hurdles. Out of the 20, you have to pass these 2, is control of corruption, democratic rights. So that's why many countries stumble, right? And I do think that, again, those are data collected by independent parties like Freedom House. How do countries get to the MCC? First, it requires a political will, an engagement to say, hey, I am going to pursue these institutional reforms and I'm going to engage in this roadmap. So Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, many countries have done this and has proven that policy and institutional reform can happen with the backing of the political assets they have or the political will they have. So I do think that the key here is to be serious about the work that you want to do, put together a team that understand what that is, have the team address the policies that are preventing you from scoring high and concretely address them. Investing in your people. Are you spending enough money on healthcare? Are you spending enough money on education? Are women participating in the economy? Those are key elements that are measurable, right? If you're vaccinating your people, it's quantifiable. Do you have the space for political rights, for political discussions, right? Is there freedom of speech? Those are things that are measurable. Again, the point is that countries have to choose. And in how you evaluate, how you institutionalize those reforms, and it always sometimes it takes long. I must admit, sometimes there's a lag in the data, but the key here is to start.
That was VOA's Peter Clote speaking with Mahmoud Ba, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the MCC. Well, we're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, in our health report, a discussion on the connection between the heart, the brain, and improving our well-being. But first, Eddie Adams tells us what's coming up on Wednesday's Straight Talk Africa.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, we begin 2023 with 2 women changemakers. Ka Walla, the first woman to run for president in Cameroon, talks about true leadership and the need for a sisterhood of activists from around the world. Lydia Bosiris spearheads a multi-million-dollar lending program that enables students from Africa to attend universities in the United States. Join me, Heidi Adams, on the next Straight Talk Africa.
Health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and ask them questions.
How long does the virus stay?
Join me, Linor, Moudou, in Washington, every week on Healthy Living, right here on VOA.
In other news, an arrest warrant has been issued in Botswana for former President Ian Khama on a charge of illegal possession of firearms. Khama, who currently lives in neighboring South Africa, denies the charge. He was formally charged in last April, but has not yet appeared in court. A Tunisian appeals court in Kairouan has dropped a long-running symbolic case against a gay rights activist who faced prison for alleged homosexual acts. The man, called Daniel, had originally been charged in 2015. Homosexual acts in Tunisia is punishable by up to 3 years in prison. And President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria will pay $4 billion extra interest in 2023 if Parliament rejects a loan-to-bond swap request on the central bank's overdrafts to the government. Buhari made this statement Tuesday after signing the 2023 budget into law. Now, the 118th session of the U.S. Congress opens Tuesday with attention focused on whether Congressman Kevin McCarthy of California can secure enough votes from his fellow Republicans to become the Speaker of the House of Representatives and second in line to the U.S. presidency. The 57-year-old McCarthy, who for years has sought to lead the 435-member House, is very close to winning the speakership, but not quite assured of securing a 218-vote majority that he needs. Well, it's time for our health report, and joining us now is Africa 54 health correspondent Linor Moudou. Hello, Linor.
Hello, Vincent. Well, guess what? For many people, the new year means new resolutions and a time to make some adjustments for a healthier and happier life. At least 55% of New Year's resolutions are health-related, according to a study published in the scientific journal Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. Some common resolutions include exercising, losing weight, and eating healthier. Experts say while improving one's diet and exercise habits are important, managing stress and reducing anxiety are also critical for our overall wellness. I spoke to Dr. Selam Aklilu, Chief Executive Officer of First Chiropractic Clinic in Addis Ababa, to discuss the connection between the heart, the brain, and improving our well-being.
What I would make something forefront for wellness these days is if we can have our heart and brain connected, or what's called heart-brain coherence. By the way, I would say in order to do that, someone has to be very present in their body and very conscious. And in order to do that, again, we need to be very focusing on our breath. Actually, we do say life is between two breaths. That is the beginning. We come in with breathing in, and when we go out, we breathe out.
And when you talk about being present, what does it mean really? Because we hear that, but how are we present? How do we become present with ourselves?
When we really focus, half a minute is so long. We are not going to be rushing.
You also talked about the connection between the heart and the brain. What is that?
Actually, it is biological and physiological. Our heart to our brain nerve connection is 9 times powerful than the brain down to the heart. This is a very recent finding in physiology. And when a person connects the heart with the brain, which is only with 4 emotions. The first one is gratitude. With your breath, being grateful and feeling this air going in and out, that connects your heart with your brain. And that is called the heart coherence. That is really directly affecting even your health to the point where it makes you so powerful.
Gratitude, which is an emotion, as we like to think about, can have a physiological, biological impact, connecting the heart and the brain.
Sometimes we can say, oh, I'm grateful about this, I'm grateful, but not connecting with our body.
That's
so
key.
Keeping this breath and being that grateful, it really makes our body change chemically.
Okay, and the next emotion?
The next emotion is appreciation. I really appreciate what you do. It makes such an impact for the health of our continent. I appreciate you. That appreciation changes the chemistry for the person who's appreciating and the person who's listening or accepting this appreciation. The third one is really compassion, to have a compassion and, you know, for the world, for the people around us. And the last one will be caring and love. Having this heart-brain coherence makes us healthier, makes us more productive, more focused, and unstressed. So how can we make people more productive is to decrease the stress. Yes. And in Ethiopia, we are trying to create 10 minutes for health, like in the labor-intense industry, where people can take time to be present in their body, warm up, and take care of their spine, and do their breathing right, and start their work. So I think prevention as being really the number one thing that we need to focus on. How about coming back and having heart coherence be something we teach from elementary school? Yes. And students can be more focused in their school, teachers can be more effective in what they're teaching, and the workforce will be having that as a habit and the way of being a calm, collected, and focused individual.
What is your advice for this new year, just the takeaway or some steps for a better, healthier new year?
Small things, starting teaching our children, just being conscious with their breath, conscious with their body, so they can make a better choice moment by moment. A choice is what is costing us so much. So let's choose right, let's breathe, let's be in coherence.
And that's our health report for today. To stay in touch, find me on Twitter at Linor Moudou. So Vincent, this interview was fascinating. Yeah. What did you take away from it?
You know, as long as you are awake and alive, you breathe every day. You never think that you can actually have a breathing exercise. And I thought that was fascinating.
Breathing is so important. Yes, we take it for granted every day, but it's really part of everything we do and everything we are as we are alive, right? Even when you are a singer, they teach you to breathe. Take a deep breath from your stomach here and release it, you know. And the deep breathing has been shown in studies to help with high blood pressure, to help with other health-related issues. So breathing is important. So let me see you. Take a deep breath in from your nose and release from the mouth. There you go.
That's how you do it, right?
You do it. That's how you do it.
And I think we cannot take this for granted. You see, it has a lot to do with our brains, also with our bodies. Yes. And it just struck me that when somebody loses, when people die, we say they took their last breath. So that's important.
And when they are born, when a baby is born,
we have to make sure they breathe.
They breathe
and cry.
Yes, so it's all about breathing. Yeah. Even if you're stressed, you're not feeling well, take a deep breath.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Thanks a lot, Linor, and be sure to watch Linor Moudou's health reports every Tuesday on Africa 54. Keep breathing. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.